Alright, so in this video, I want to show you how to make a very simple logo for your blog, right? A lot of people ask, how do I create a, textual logo? I don't want anything too fancy, but I just kind of wanted to be something besides this default text that our theme or the WordPress itself, what it gives us. And so, I want to just show you how you can make something very simple, quite elegant as well, for very little money, actually for free, and it'll be quite simple to make. And we don't need any experience. I have no experience in actually making logos. It's not going to be anything fancy, but it'll get the job done, so you don't have to pay a very large sum of money just for a logo, right? And the first thing that I want to show you is actually to make that icon or to actually get a logo. There's a number of ways to do that. The first one that I want to show you is just going on different stock websites, and you can just type in vector logo or something like that, and you can find actually there's quite a bit of logos on the stock photo websites that are easily customizable because they are vectors, so you can change the text very easily. And there may be something that you like. There may be a perfect logo that you like that would work really well for your website. But another thing that you can, if you can't find an actual direct logo like something like this, it doesn't fit well with your website, something like that. Another thing that you can use is kind of these icons, right? These icons are perfect because, if you see on a lot of websites, they have on the left side, they have a little bit of an icon and then they have the text, right? Or if you just want the text by itself, that's perfectly fine as well, right? And the one thing that's good about this website that I'm showing you, it's the Bigstockphoto, is that they actually provide a free trial, a 7-day free trial. So you can actually try out some of these different logos, try out some of these different icons for free. I think it's 7 days, you get 5 pictures each day, right? So it's good to just try out and see what it is. So that kind of gives you an idea if you want some type of, I guess, icon or actual logo that's made by, and these are all made by designers, things like that. So that's one option. But what I'm going to show you is actually how to make one in Illustrator. And it's going to be very, very simple, nothing too fancy. And so the first thing that I want to show you is how do you get your font, right? How do you get your font for, there's many, many fonts that you can choose from. A lot of the fonts within Illustrator may not be the best, so where can you get additional fonts? And I think that a perfect place to get it is this website called Dafont, D-A-F-O-N-T. And it has a bunch of free and also paid fonts that people, it's kind of like a marketplace for fonts. And you can just search those. There's literally thousands of fonts that you could go through. There's different types where the sans serif are more like, I guess you could say, more professional looking or more basic looking. They have also, these cartoon-like. They have, for example, these handwritten style fonts, and these are just fonts, right? You would install them just like you would any font, and you could type it in Microsoft Word, you could do it in Illustrator, right? So depending on what type of, for example, this would be perfect for maybe some type of Tumblr blog, or maybe a blog that has more of a feminine feel to it or a feminine look to it. These would be perfect fonts, right? And so that's why the font is such a good way to find these different fonts, or to make these quite good looking logos even by themselves. Like, for example, if this was your logo by itself, that'd be already perfect, right? And it's free to download that font. You literally would just type it into Illustrator, Ambershade, or whatever your actual website name was, right? So very, very simple in that regard. How do you go about finding a font that you like? Well, one thing that I use is there's different tools. This is a Google Chrome, I guess, extension, and it's called WhatFont, just W-H-A-T and then font. And so what it is it's a Google extension where when you click it, you can just hover over different text, and you can see what type of font it's exactly using. This is just Facebook, and so for example, if you really were not creative at all, that you just wanted to kind of emulate the same type of look, the same type of font, you could easily do that. And either if you find in Illustrator that font isn't there, you can go ahead and download it either on Dafont or on other websites as well, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to pick a random font. It doesn't really matter. I'll stick to something sans serif style, I guess you could say. And I don't know. I don't really know what exactly the style that we're looking for. But for example, let's just take this one. Quite simple, this one, Helvetica. And so we're just going to download it. And so you can see that it downloads right away. And we'll open up in our downloads. And all we're going to do is just double click on that Helvetica.tf, and then we're just going to install font. And this is on a Mac, so it may be a little bit different if you're using Windows. And so you're just going to install it, and it'll just go into your font book, and it should be there. As you can see, I installed a bunch of other fonts as well, and you can see the Helvetica installed right there. All right. So from there, all we're going to do now, the font is installed, so all we're going to do is open up Illustrator. All right, and so this is Illustrator right now. So all we're going to do, I actually pasted in, I guess you could say a small little icon that I found online that I liked. And so what I did here was I have, I guess, this is just, it specifies the size, right? This block right here, whatever is within this block is what's actually going to be exported in our file, right? So what I did here is I chose something that was the width of 270 pixels by 68 pixels. And the reason why I did that was because if we go into our actual dashboard of WordPress and we go into appearance and header, and different themes may or may not have this option, but it'll show us the actual suggested size, 270 pixels by 68. So that's why I chose that. So anything within this box, and it's this button right here, the artboard tool, right? And so we have this little icon here. I just thought it would look kind of interesting right next to it. You definitely don't have to put it. What I want to show you is just how to change the size of it, right? Because ultimately we want that icon to fit in that little box. We're just going to go to an object, transform, and we're going to scale it down. And so there's just the percentage that you're going to scale it down, and you can do it multiple times. Let's just try 80%. And so then we're just going to paste it in right there, right? So it's just going to sit right there. It's going to be a basic icon that, you know, some websites do have, some don't. Some are just the text by itself. And so what I did here, I just grabbed the text tool, and I'm just going to start typing. And so what we do is we look for the actual font that we just installed, and it was this Helvetica, and then that's just the name of what our website is, and you can just make it whatever size that you want. And so from here, pretty much what we can do is we literally can export it, right? If this is something that we like, that look, we like that design, or we can end up deciding that no, we don't like that the look of this, we want to make something that's you know, a little bit different font. We can easily just change the font. You can play around with all the fonts, especially because they're free. You know, you have that flexibility. But the next thing that I want to do is I want to show you where this header will actually end up going. And so this is what our website looks like right now. And so what you can see is that the logo will be going up in this top left corner, and the background is black, or it's a darker color. So in that situation, if we have black text, it's not going to look very good. It's not going to look very good. It's probably not going to show up very well. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to click on it, and this is our color board, and we're just going to select white. And we can't see it right now, but trust me, it is back there. And so when we export it, we're going to actually export it as a transparent logo. And so that'll allow it to, everything on the outside is going to be transparent. And so you'll just see that black background, and then you'll see the white text here. And another thing that we may want to do is maybe change this gray also to white, just because you know, the same rationale is that you want it to maybe stand out with that transparent background. And so the only thing that we're going to do now is go File, Save for Web and Devices. And if you can see here, you'll see this checkerboard, but you also will see the logo somewhere in there, right? And then you guys probably can't see it in this corner, but there's a transparency option, and then we're just going to click Save. So now all we have to do, let's just title it something. We'll just call it our logo. And when we bring up our website again, and we go into our header, all we're going to do is drag it in and then click upload. And so now it'll allow you to crop it if you didn't do it in the proper size. But since it's the proper size, it's going to work just fine. And just save that right there. And we'll see how it looks now. We'll see what ultimately our website or our logo will look like. And so it looks something like this, right? And it may be what you're desiring for, it may not be, depending on what type of look or what type of feel you want for your website. And you can easily just do the exact same logic and change the font, or it's pretty much your bulk of your logo is simply just your font, right? And the fonts are all free. So in my opinion, unless it's something that's really has to have a certain feel, a certain look to it, a lot of this can just be done on your own, and you can easily add, I guess, a tagline underneath if you want to say what your website's more about. You can easily add that in, right? It's not a big deal. It's not very hard to do. You just add another text, another text box right underneath. And you just make it a smaller font, right? So the logic of how to make a logo is all right there. You kind of have the basic understanding of how you would do that in Illustrator. And so now hopefully you'll be able to kind of play around with it, choose the best font that you like, choose one that be more applicable to your actual website.